the stream on my laptop so I can be on YouTube and then also on Facebook. But Restream was acting a fool, so I'll have to figure that out later. So sorry to keep you waiting if you guys were waiting for me. I know that I've been going live at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays, and so I like to keep up with that. But I was just fumbling around with some technology today. So if you are watching this, my name is Amelie, and this is the Soulestic Intelligence Podcast. And I come on every week to discuss some emotionally and energetic intelligence pieces. So a few months ago in February, I wrote an article called "The Nine." Oh, let me pull it up. I always forget it. I write a lot, so um, it was called. View my profile. It was called. Oh boy, posts. The 9 emotional competencies of the attractive man. So I did that, and now today we're going to talk about the emotionally intelligent woman and what she looks like, because this is all going to come to a head, and I'm going to be doing. I might just pre-record it and have it scheduled to come out next week, but I want to talk about divine unions, and unfortunately, like in YouTube, I'm unable to like do whiteboards or show you images, and so I have to do that in another app. So usually I use Zoom. Sometimes you can use Restream, but I haven't messed around with Restream. But I did this 9 emotional competencies of the attractive man, and I did that in mid-February, so the day after Valentine's Day. And I was like, I should probably talk about what an emotionally intelligent woman looks like. Why is she magnetic? What is it about her? What qualities about her are attractive, and why do we feel drawn to that? Obviously, we're going to be, as women or whomever like we're attracted to, we're going to be attracted to the emotionally intelligent person. So it could be a man or a woman. Hi, Slinky Battle. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So, with the emotional, I guess I should say like where this comes from. So, for me, I really enjoy talking about emotional intelligence and what that looks like in women. And I was on this podcast a couple days ago. Not a couple days ago. It was like a week and a half ago, but a couple days ago, whatever. And so here I am. I'm like chatting with some people, and there's this guy, and he's very opinionated about women and how women treat men, and I'm not dismissing what he's saying as being true. However, there is a little bit of. Prima says, my cousin Carrie turned me onto your page. Very interesting content. Shout out my cousin, please. Carrie Caverga. Carrie Caverga, thank you so much for sharing. A girl loves me, but I don't love her. I only consider her as my friend, but she's not leaving me alone. What should I do? Please give me some suggestions. Great. I just had this chat with somebody. So when a girl likes you and she's chasing you and you do not like her, you need to be very firm in your boundaries of, I'm not interested you in any romantic way. I'm only interested in pursuing a friendship. Now, this can pose a problem. So I talked with a guy a couple days ago, and 18 years ago, he had a friend. She liked him. He said, I'm not interested, drew a boundary, and he didn't keep his boundary. and she ended up getting pregnant, thinking that this was going to be a way that she could keep him in her life. She did keep him in her life all those years, but he was not interested in her. But he didn't draw the physical boundary. He kept on sleeping with her, and she even moved in at his request. And so all of these messages that he was giving out was, be around me, and she wanted that reciprocated. I want to be around you. I want that closeness. I want that intimacy. And he gave it to her, not all the way, but a portion of the way. So I would suggest, I'm not telling you what to do, but I would suggest looking at what boundaries you are putting out there. And if she does not respect those boundaries, you need to push her away as your friend. Don't lead her on, don't breadcrumb her, and make her think that there's a chance there. So that's what I would suggest. But you are going to do what you're going to do. There's lots of people in the world, and we don't need to be, if we're not interested in them and that's the only way that they see us, then we need to do some hard boundaries within ourselves and say, hey, look, I'm not interested in you in that way, and I appreciate you being my friend. However, if you don't respect this, then I can't be around you, because it's not fair to you and it's not fair to me. Okay? All right. So, as we look at the emotionally intelligent man, the emotionally intelligent woman is going to want to attract a man into her field, but not in a way that is pushy or pursuey. When I think about a divine feminine, I think about a queen, and she has her kingsmen and her subjects coming and bringing gifts to her. And the emotionally authentic and regulated man is going to recognize those beautiful qualities that she has in herself. And he is going to naturally be drawn to her, because she has this not just emotional intelligence, but she has this certain level of self-respect. She has this beautiful confidence that she's exuding, and it's magnetizing. It's drippy to be around. It's intoxicating. And it just doesn't mean that she's some hussy. Oh. Umer? I don't know how to say that. I am from Oregon. I'm in America. Okay. So, how would a woman attract that man? We'll talk about that after we talk about what she is like. So, men are obviously attracted to women based on physical appearance. Physical appearance is a huge thing when it comes to men being attracted to women. And I want to look beyond the physical appearance, because the physical appearance is going to be a reflection of what is inside the woman. Now, there are some, it's not a correlation. This is not correlation equals cause. This is definitely not that. However, there are going to be women that may be average looking, that have this beautiful exuding confidence and magnetism that they're going to be portraying out in that energy field. And so that's why you see some people are attracted to certain people. But beyond the physical appearance, what makes a woman desirable to a man, and I invite the men that are watching to add their comments and have some sort of discourse on what these traits are. But the first thing is her emotional maturity. So her emotional maturity she's going to be able to handle the chaos of her own emotions, not in any manipulative way and not in any chaotic, like frenzied way. She's going to be able to handle her emotions by acknowledging them, feeling them, and then letting them go and not letting it really intertwine with her mindset and her poise and her being. Emotional maturity also includes communicating her needs and boundaries clearly. So Virat was saying, a girl loves me, but I don't love her, and she's not leaving me alone in trying to pursue a romantic relationship, I'm assuming, with her. And a woman that is emotionally mature is going to see that this man is not reciprocating the feelings that I have for him, and she's going to pull that back, and she's going to put that energy back into herself, and then the proper energy that's going to come and complement her is going to be, she's going to have that energy reserve to find that man, if that's what she's looking for. So she's able to clearly and calmly speak her boundaries. She's going to be able to communicate her needs. You know, if she's in a relationship, she's going to be able to say, "Hey, look, you know, we've been dating for 4 months now, and I feel really good about where the direction is going, and I wanted to check in and see what you think about where our relationship is going. Is it something that you're going to continue to pursue? Because in my life, I want to be married, I want to have a family, or I want to be able to travel, or whatever her needs are." She is going to be able to communicate those things clearly and without reservation. She's not going to be scared that, oh my gosh, if I speak and communicate my needs and my boundaries, he is going to leave. That's not the case. She doesn't take everything personally or need constant reassurance. So, in that communication of her need, she wasn't looking at that as, I need to be reassured. She wants to know that it's going somewhere, but she also wants to know that if for some reason he doesn't meet her needs, that she can leave that. She doesn't need to chase or pursue somebody that's not going to fulfill her needs and her desires of her life. And another part of emotional maturity is she is going to offer grace and not drama. She is not going to be dramatic. She's not going to say, you know, I don't want to, that because you're not giving me what I want, I am going to make your life a living hell. She's not doing that. She is doing this gracefully. There, the desirability of the emotional maturity of a woman is it creates a safe emotional space for a man to feel seen and understood. And it's without fear of judgment or being smothered or, chased. Like men just don't like that. There's certain chemical reactions that happen when men chase. And if they're being chased, that chemical reaction goes away. So a woman will do much better to remain in her sovereignty and in her own focus of herself and focus of her emotions. And yeah, there's going to be times where she's going to need him for a certain level of comfort or a certain, resting place of, I've been working in my emotional field and it's really exhausting and I just need to feel calmed down. The bond there is going to, there's scientific evidence that the bond there is going to calm her. So, that's what he is there for. But for her, she is just this safe place for him to come to as well. And he wants to feel those beautiful feelings of love and nurturing and attention from her. So, her being able to handle her emotions without the drama, without the manipulation, without the chaos is going to be good. Not that in those chaotic moments, it might be amusing to him to, see her working through some really deep emotional situations. Okay, number two, self-confidence and self-respect. So this is the first part of emotional intelligence that most people should be teaching. And if you're out there and you're looking, how do I become emotionally intelligent? The self-awareness piece is the most important. It's a great building block. It helps you to understand yourself and thereby understand others. And I think through understanding yourself, at least for us in our westernized culture of independence, that it is helpful because then it will help you to understand others a little bit more. So, self confidence and self respect are all housed in what the ISEI, the Social and Emotional Intelligence Institute, calls personal power. And personal power is your level of self confidence, self worth, self respect, your capabilities. This is where all of that is housed. We got another lady talking to herself. Oh boy. um, so she is self confidence and has self respect. So her level of personal power is going to be really high. And if she's emotionally intelligent and has some resilience, she's going to have this high personal power. She's going to have a lot of confidence in her capabilities. She's going to have a lot of confidence in her worth. She's going to have a lot of self love. That's where this is also housed in that area. And so she's going to know her worth without being arrogant. She is going to set standards and boundaries without apology. She's not going to think like, oh my gosh, if I set this boundary, then that person is going to reject me and I am going to be all alone. She is very firm in her standards and her boundaries. She knows what her values are. She knows what her value is. And she sets boundaries and doesn't apologize for setting that boundary. If you need to say, look, I know that the company needs to have this goal set. I don't have the time and energy at the moment to meet that need. Is there somebody else that can do that? You know, she's really looking at herself, her energy, her boundaries, and is without apology asking for what her needs are. She doesn't compete for attention. This is another piece. She magnetically attracts it effortlessly. So people are going to be drawn to her because she has this magnetic effect, this magnetic confidence, this self respect that people are going to look at. And people like to be around people that have these high levels of self confidence and respect. People are charismatically drawn to that. So, this is another piece that she is going to have. And one of the coolest things that I've discovered is this concept of surrender and letting go. She is able to walk away from what doesn't serve her. So let's say that she was dating somebody for 4 months and she was really like into the guy, but at the end of it, he didn't share some of the same goals and visions that she did. Maybe he didn't want to travel and she did. Maybe he is a homebody and she isn't. Um, maybe he prefers to be in a certain area of the world and she doesn't. She's going to look at that and figure out, do I want to compromise that or do I want to do what is going to serve me and find somebody that is going to complement my likes and my desires, or is this something that I can actually work with? So walking away from something that doesn't serve her, it reminds me, I've done it a couple times. I've walked away from some jobs, like my career. I've walked away from a couple times, and before making that decision, it was really, really difficult. There were a lot of things that I liked about the jobs. The career that I was in, I loved the career, but it wasn't serving me anymore. In one job, I I tend to be a little bit more extroverted than I am introverted. Not that I can't do introverted tasks. I somewhat 50-50. But I'm a little bit more extroverted than I am introverted, meaning I like to be around people. They give me energy. Even when I'm home alone, I'll tend to like stay in my room. Whereas, like, when my son is home, I will go out to wherever my son is. And then I'm like activated to like clean the house or make him some food or, play games with him. Like, I want to interact with him when he's around because that extroverted part of me gets energy from it. And that's where that extroversion comes into play. Now, the job that I had, it was a lot more extroverted before, and then slowly and gradually it became this introverted position. And because of the nature of the introverted position, I wasn't communicating with people as much as I like to. And so I had to walk away from the job. It just didn't suit me anymore, and I knew it didn't serve me. And the best thing that I could do was, go to the HR people operations department and say, hey, look, I need an exit strategy. This job is no longer what I applied for, and it no longer serves me. So please help me develop an exit strategy. I would like to be gone by this date. And so that happened. I went and because of my self respect, because I knew of my needs and my desires, I was able to walk away from something that wasn't serving me anymore. And I did it by communicating my boundaries and my needs to the company. So men are drawn to women that don't need to be chosen to feel validated. She's already chosen herself. Men do not want to. Men, emotionally intelligent men, do not want to be around a woman who needs constant validation of her worth, of her confidence, of her self respect. Men want to be around women that have already chosen themselves. And, in this dating world, I see all kinds of, I have a lot of theories and hypotheses about, dating shows and about dating apps and all that stuff in general. And a lot of people will go on there and they'll just need validation of a swipe left, or I don't know, is it swipe left or swipe right? Obviously, I'm not like into it, but the swiping of like being validated, of having X number of men come in and say, "Hey, beautiful," or whatever they say, "Good morning" or "Good night" or whatever the men say to like get the attention of the woman. Um, she doesn't need to go into these dating apps and have that validation. She already knows that she already knows her worth. She already knows that she is a prize to be won. And so men are drawn to women who have chosen themselves first. All right, so that was number 2. Number 3 is feminine radiance. So I talked a little bit about this at the beginning. This is that beautiful magnetic warmth and softness and nurturing energy that comes from inside. Like, it's just radiating. Like I said, you want to be around it because it's the embodiment of comfort and nurturing. And that energy is warm and soft. And so it makes you feel good to be around somebody who has, or a woman who has this feminine radiance about her. She embodies joy and sensuality and playfulness. She's sitting there and she's like delighted by children or maybe flowers. I know for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that water. Can we go jump in it? And I'm like, my son's like, no, we're on a mission. We're going on to whatever place. Or I'll see like tulips. I'm like, look at all those tulips. Slow down the car. I love driving, by the way. It's my favorite. So I get distracted. Oh my gosh, look at that tree. Look at this mountain. Look at the cliffs. I'm constantly just in wonder of the world around me, and it fills me with joy. And there's a certain sensuality that goes into it, or playfulness, like going and there's things called barcades. I don't know if everybody knows about it, but it's like a bar, and then they have all these arcade games that you can go play pinball or play uh, what's that place called? It's oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's like Dave and Buster's, but it's like in my area. Anyways, so going to like Dave and Buster's or even going to a bar and playing darts, like there's a certain playfulness that can be in that. Like she's still participating and maybe a little competitive, but it's in a playful way. Or driving a car and you're just having this like fun banter back and forth. Men enjoy that sensuality and that playfulness when she's able to embody that, and he likes to be around it. And the last piece is she doesn't need to be strong all the time, and that will create space for his masculinity. Now, for a lot of women, we find ourselves in this hyper masculinized world where we feel the need to because we don't have it in our lives to adapt and be a little bit masculine in our existence. However, we don't always have to do that. It's like we do better to like lean back and let the man step into his masculinity of if he likes to provide, like let him provide. Don't sit there and argue with him if he wants to pay the bill or he wants to drive. Don't sit there and argue with him, but also be available in the moments that he does need you to drive or he does need you to pay. Like just really look at how you want to handle that relationship. Um, a man is going to want to feel that he can protect and cherish a woman who trusts him enough to soften in his presence. Soften in his presence. He wants her to be feminine because on the like if a woman is being hyper masculinized, a lot of women are like they don't like it. I've seen a lot in my own experience. I didn't really much like it. I did it because I had to. I was making sure that the needs were being met, but it robbed it of the man that I was with, and it came to a full head when he said, "You emasculate me." And so that realization was something that I had to deeply consider of, how am I reacting? Like that really stuck in my craw for a long time of did I emasculate him or did he emasculate himself? And there's going to be a little bit of both energy into that situation. But if I was able to trust a man enough to allow him to be a man and to allow me to soften and to pull back and just do, instead of where it felt like it was 75-25, maybe do 50-50 or even more of the other way around, I would want to think that I have a man that I could trust in order to be soft in him, in his presence. And to a certain degree, like I'm able to hold myself to that for the most part. I, in my dating relationship right now, like I definitely, it's different. I wasn't even looking for it, but I find myself being a little bit more pulled back and soft instead of being controlling and pursuing. So am exuding more of that feminine radiance, and that is something that I've had in my goals of I'm going to achieve that, right? I still have like that masculine intentionality of being more feminine, and then honoring where I am in my embodiment and in my expression. So the number 4 part of our discussion today is mystery and depth. So a woman that holds mystery, that holds depth. Um, one of the things that I embody is like my intellectual pursuits are crazy. And so she should have her own hobbies and interests, something that's interesting, that gives her depth, that gives her this wild card factor of, he doesn't know like what her inner world looks like, what she's passionate about. And so the mystery and depth is going to be a rich inner world. So maybe she reads, she likes to read these really heady French Revolution books, or she likes to read about like medical information, and really just enjoys that as her passion. Her inner world is going to be rich. It's going to be filled with these different passions and insights and imagination that he is going to find brilliant, because that creativity, that is the womb space, that is our sacral energy. And that creativity is part of birthing beautiful things into the world. And this is not relegated just to women. I'm just speaking of an emotionally intelligent woman, what she's going to be beyond physical appearance. That rich inner world is going to be a part of it. And I like to think, what's that? Pride and Prejudice, where I can't remember her name, but she's around Mr. Darcy, and Mr. Darcy is like getting to know her, and she just has these quirky parts about her that give her this imagination, and she has just different insights, and she's very passionate, and he's very drawn to her, even though he's kind of this cold, callous guy. But she has this beautiful mystery about her that he is enchanted by. And, you think about some of these romantic love stories in literature, most of the time, or maybe all the time, I don't know, but most of the time, like the character is going to have these unique insights into the world, and that's why the man is going to be attracted to that. The other thing is she doesn't over explain or overshare. She lets him uncover her. So he is going to be chasing some more explanations. Maybe he's like, maybe he doesn't ask her questions. Maybe he just kind of waits and observes. And he's trying to decide whether or not he can unlock whatever mystery and insight she has, or whatever she's like wanting, whatever she's not sharing, like he's going to want to kind of dig into that. And the other piece, this is the depth piece, is she feels emotionally, spiritually, or intellectually expansive. And from my experience, letting go and surrendering and relaxing, stimulating your vagus nerve and seriously relaxing. I don't care if you have to go to a waterfall, on a hike, go lay in a picnic, like go have a picnic in the grass in the, park downtown, or wherever you're feeling like nature. Go to the beach, like take a trip, whatever you've got to do to feel expansive. When you are in your sympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, repair, when you're sleeping well, this is the best way to tap into your feminine expansion that I've seen. And one of the fastest ways is you can gargle water, you can put your face in a bowl of ice water, and just put your face in there. It's going to stimulate your vagus nerve. It's going to relax your nervous system very, very fast. The other ways that you can do it are singing, dancing, like things that get you moving, exercising. These are all going to stimulate your vagus nervous system to go into that sympathetic state. Now, if you're not in that, you're in a fear cycle, so you're in a survival mechanism of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and that is going to pull you away from expansiveness and make you feel small. It's going to pull you back. and you're going to retreat from it. So you want to be present in your body, and you're not going to feel emotionally, spiritually, or intellectually expansive if your vagus nerve is in a parasympathetic fight, flight, freeze, fawn survival mechanism. So the big desirability factor here in the mystery in depth is that men crave women who evoke curiosity. She's not a puzzle to be solved, but she's a world to be discovered. So she is going to have a lot of inner richness within herself and flow with this interest. Like he's just going to be interested in her. And so this is a way that a woman who is emotionally intelligent can be dynamic in a pool of tons of people that are on dating apps, tons of people that are on these dating shows. I was watching Love is Blind, and I got to season 6 and I was like, I can't even go on. Like I just can't go on. Like it, watching that, I think it has some sort of mirror effect on us that I would just be cautious about, like what you're ingesting as far as like even television, what you're ingesting into your system, because you will likely start to mirror and replicate it, especially if you're a little bit more echoist. Okay, so moving on, number 5, playfulness and light energy. So she is playful and fun to be around. It's not, she doesn't take life super seriously. She teases, jokes, and flirts with ease. And she laughs at herself and invites joy into mundane situations. So if you're in a situation where maybe you're sitting in traffic and you guys are heading to the beach or something like that, as you're sitting in traffic, maybe she's like playing music and singing along and just having a good time and showing him that like you don't have to always take life seriously. Yeah, we're stuck in traffic, but we're going to make the best of it. She laughs at herself. Let's say she accidentally, drops an egg on the floor. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And just teases, not in a mean way, but in just in a really light-hearted, like keeping everything from being too heavy. Like her ability to set the tone in a room and have it be really joyful is a beautiful thing. And that's where the desirability factor for a man is who's going to be attracted to that. She's going to make him feel good. And he wants to come closer to be in her presence because it's like, let's just face it, the weight of the world is heavy. And when we're out there and we're trying to make things happen and keep everything, ends meeting and all that stuff, there's a certain relief when somebody can be really playful and make you laugh and bring you joy. And man is going to want to be around a woman that is going to be joyful and give him a little bit of relief. Like if he's around her, like I feel so much better now. I can go out into the world again, and I feel a lot lighter. And the weight of the world isn't resting on me. I always know I have a place around you that's going to be feeling like a relief. Okay, number 6 is passion and purpose. So an emotionally intelligent woman is not going to be focused just 100% solely on the man to bring her a passion and purpose, and nor should she. She is going to have her own mission, her own hobbies, and her own dreams, or, a combination of some of that. Her life is not going to orbit around his life. She has a full one of her own. If you're dating a very detached man who values his freedom, who loves to have times of solitude with himself, you're a woman that is going to come in and smother him and judge him and nag him is going to be very undesirable. So an emotionally intelligent woman is going to have her own passions. Maybe her mission is to crochet blankets for preemie babies, or to deliver food to those less fortunate. She's going to have her own mission, things that are going to bring her passion to life. Or she's going to have hobbies that just fulfill her. Maybe she likes to make jewelry. Maybe she likes to make bath bombs or bath salts, or maybe she likes to garden and her gardening, or maybe she likes to make sourdough. Like, these are all hobbies that she can have that give her this ignite her passion and give her a bit of purpose in her day. And then also, if she has dreams, if her dreams are to to travel, like, she is going to be pursuing that purpose. And maybe there's a purpose in traveling that she is going to find reward in. For me, I want to travel to just meet different cultures and understand different cultures and see from a holistic perspective what's, what drives people, why do they react the way that they do. She's going to have her own dreams, and it's not going to orbit around his life. And he can choose or not choose to go with her in those pursuits. But, obviously there's a lot of communication that goes into that. But she is going to honor that passion and purpose in herself. And then energetically fulfilled from within. She doesn't, like I said earlier, she doesn't need the external validation of him saying, you are worth it. He doesn't want to sit there and, like, I don't even want to call it baby. It's like, it's just a validation. She doesn't need that external validation. That validation is already within herself. And she's fulfilled from within her cup because she is tending to her own needs and clearly communicating what those needs are, clearly communicating her boundaries. Her cup is constantly full. She's not getting burnt out. She is not needing external validation. I think burnout comes from desiring this external validation from others. So if you're experiencing burnout, then and you want to address it and you don't know how, please message me. But the desirability factor for a man here is he is going to want to join her in her world and not be her reason for being. He is going to want to join her in her world. He's going to want to go see how she's built up her temple. He's going to want to go see that. He wants to journey into it. He doesn't want to become her reason for being. He doesn't want to be the one that is the one being chased. Like I said, he's going to want to, like, be curious about it and come like an adventurer, come in to see, like, what kind of world is she building over here, And so she's got that mystery and that depth, and then she's also got that passion, and he is going to want to join her in that. Number 7 is devotion without desperation. So she can be, so the desperation kind of comes where, like, that woman is, like, sees a guy, she's really into him, he's not into her, but she continues to pursue him anyway. That's desperation. That is just reeking of desperation. That is like a need for an external validation. I just want to cohabitate with you so that I feel that I'm taken care of in this basic physical form. But when you're in a divine union relationship, there's a lot more than just being physically together. There's the emotional connection, there's an intellectual connection, and then there's the spiritual connection that all intertwine with each other. And if you're desperately, as a woman, seeking a man to just validate your experience, you're not going to have what would be known as true devotion. So she can be fiercely loyal without being clingy. So you don't want to be clingy, you don't want to have to, like, oh, I'll show up, oh, not having any boundaries. Oh yeah, I can do that, unless you can really do it. Oh yeah, I can do that. And then you're like canceling plans with your friends just to go hang out with this guy. She's going to be fiercely loyal in that she doesn't want others to be around. She's not going to allow others into her field. So she's going to be loyal to and devoted. This is devotion, right? She makes a man, he doesn't want to feel chased, he doesn't want to feel pursued, he wants to feel chosen. Okay? That's a huge difference here. He does not want to be chased. He wants to feel chosen, and he wants to feel chosen by that woman who has her own inner world, her own passions. She's choosing herself, she's loving herself, she's validating her own self. She doesn't need anybody else to validate her. And he is going to be drawn to that. A man is also going to like to feel inspired about being her protector. He wants to be that provider, not by manipulation, but through instinct. He is instinctually going to want to take care of her. He is going to want her to feel provided for. And he's going to do this because he also has devotion. And she's just over here in her own little world, just being her beautiful self, radiating her confidence and radiating her beautiful inner world out to everybody. And he's going to see that and he's going to be like, that is who I want to be devoted to. Okay? So the desirability factor here is a woman who wants him, but doesn't need him to survive. She wants him to be around. This isn't cohabitation. This is divine union. This is not cohabitation. This is divine union. And in divine union, it's devotion that keeps two people together. So she wants him to be around, but doesn't need him to survive. And this pulls him in further. He's like, oh my gosh, I don't need to give her the bare minimum for survival. She just wants to be around me. Okay? That's beautiful. All right, couple more. I have 10 of them. So number 8 is receptivity and appreciation. Okay? Who doesn't love some appreciation? So a woman is very receptive. She's the grounding rod of a relationship typically. She is going to be the one that is taking in all the information, and then she is going to be that oracle to him to say, I've taken stock of everything. Here's what's going on, and he's going to be able to lead from there. So a woman is going to be receiving. Now, if you are somebody that can't accept a compliment, like somebody compliments you and says, you know, you're beautiful, or maybe a kind gesture, like somebody buys her a coffee, or maybe like a kiss on the cheek or whatever the receiving gift is. It could be love, compliments, gestures, things like that. She receives it with grace and with kindness, like, oh, thank you so much, or like, you know, returns love, like gives a hug or whatever, accepts a compliment. She is going to do that with grace and kindness and in her own like beautiful, whatever her signature way of doing that is. She's not going to be deflecting this, like, oh, your hair looks really good today. She's not going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't even wash it, right? That's a deflection. She's going to say, oh, thank you so much, you know, whatever her magic is, whatever she does to say that. She shows gratitude genuinely. So she is going to be genuinely grateful, and she lets herself be adored and lets him feel like he matters. So she wants to feel adored. She wants to feel a little pursued, be attended to, but she also is going to let him feel like he matters. So she's going to, you know, pay attention to some of the things. Oh, you know, when you did this, I felt really good about that. She, you know, mentions the thing that she's thinking of, like, let me see. I mean, there's lots of things that I can think of. But she's just gonna let him know. Like she's gonna say, you know, when you did this, I felt really good about that. I really liked when you did this. Um, she's going to notice him in his work, like you're doing a really good job. Keep it up. And I see how hard you work. I love that you do that. So she's going to give him a lot of good, positive feedback, showing him that he matters to her. Okay. So the desirability factor here in the appreciation and receptivity is that the masculine energy craves to be received. They want to be received. They like it. It stimulates the brain for the man. And a receptive woman is going to feel like oxygen, and he is going to like feeling grounded around her. It's going to remind him to return to a certain state. Like maybe he is out in the world and he's doing all this stuff, and he comes home and he's just like has this weight of the world, like I was saying earlier, and she's like, I see how hard you're working, you know, and she just receives him in and sees him. He's gonna like that. He needs to be grounded every once in a while. Like if you think about this in terms of a battery, a grounding wire is, or in electricity, a grounding wire is going to be where like some of the extra stuff is put. So you have grounding wires in your home, and that helps from the, you know, electric circuits from not catching fire. It's something that grounds it into the earth, and then it still powers the whole house. So if you think about all the power in the house, that's like positive and electric. Like my light is shining, this phone is working, my computer is on, my fan is on. Like we have all of these things that are powering, and that's really like that masculine energy, and it does need to be grounded in so that it doesn't just continue to go 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 and not have a rest. What's it called? It's not resting. It's kind of like a resituating. I can't think of the word right now. But anyways, so she is going to be oxygen to helping him ground. Now, the next one is integrity and honesty. So we're talking about these qualities of an emotionally intelligent woman. So she's going to say what she means with kindness. She's not going to play games, and she's not going to create confusion. She's really going to be centered in integrity and honesty. So just being really truthful, like I said, if you have a boundary and you know that it's being walked all over, and you don't go and say, this is my boundary, in your beautiful feminine way, you know, when you leave dishes in the, you know, we both work. If you leave dishes in the sink and you don't take care of them, I have to take care of them, and you know, we need to be working together. If that's the way that your relationship goes. And then also with integrity and honesty, she's going to stand in her truth even when it's uncomfortable. So sometimes it's really difficult, especially if you are more on the egoist side of the horseshoe theory that I put together of the narcissist and the egoist. I used to call it narcissist and empath, but empath is just the wrong word. Egoist is more accurate, and it fits in the Greek mythologies. So, and I did a whole thing on it, so I will post that. I did a whole thing on Zoom on it because it had some visuals. But she's going to stand in her truth. So if something bothers her, she's going to bring the petition to the front. She's going to be, and he's going to do the same thing in his masculine way. But if she is standing in her truth and she is saying something that this is not just, this is really hard for me to say, but you know, please allow me to say it. I need to bring it up front. She's standing in her integrity. She's being honest with her man and herself. And it when she is being true to herself, it shows that there is a deep level of trust in that relationship. So trust to a man is like an aphrodisiac. If if a man wants to know why the woman, if a man wants to know a woman, he is going to want to know the real her and not this facade or this false identity that we put up to kind of protect the real us. We want her to stand in her truth, so she's going to say what she means. She's going to be honest. She's not going to play mind games. She's not going to create confusion. She's going to be standing in her truth, being saying what she means, and a man is going to be drawn to that. And then finally, the last piece that I want to bring up is intuitive presence. So this one kind of goes into when we were talking about mystery and depth, but intuitive presence means that she's attuned to herself and the unseen world around us. So I know that for me, I have, I used to think that I was like pretty masculine, but after I like did a lot of work, I was like, oh man, I'm pretty feminine actually. And a big part of that is just being attuned to the world around us, attuned to the family, and is the like how, like I said, she is gathering all that information and she's delivering it to him as an oracle. So she's noticing his energy and his needs and his emotional rhythms, and she's in attuned to that. And then also with the family and her friends, and maybe even the community or communities that she's part of, she's intuitively attuned to what is going on in those situations. She knows when to lean in and, you know, speak up and to say something, and then she also knows when to pull back and give space. She's not going to be there nagging and pressuring and all that stuff. And her intuitive presence is also going to make him feel seen without even saying any words. So he is going to feel very, very seen. And she can do this in little small actions, but it is going to make him feel really good to know that he's being seen, he's being nurtured in a certain way by her. And when she's able to have this beautiful intuitive presence, and this comes from just being around, I don't even think you have to be around somebody. Like, as I'm studying social psychology, I don't even think that you have to be around somebody for a long period of time in order to get to that mirror neuron where you're like entangled with somebody. And mirror neurons is not the same as quantum entanglement, by the way. Um, I've been chatting with Valentine about that, but the intuitive presence of being attuned to your partner, meaning that you almost can tell what they're thinking. You can almost, because you're so locked in to them. The desirability factor here comes from she becomes unforgettable, and she's meeting him not just physically but in an energetic capacity. And that's the divine, like when you're looking at divine union, like you want to be interlocked. A union is like two things coming together, maybe more than two, but you know, for the most part, two things, two beings coming together in union is this mystical experience, because now these two become one. And there's something intoxicating about having that connection with somebody, is being able to not just physically be there, but be there on an energetic level and just be feel seen and cared for and connected with somebody. So that is the 10. I know I did 9 for men, but I did 10 for women. Characteristics of the emotionally intelligent woman. And I would say that most men are looking for these qualities outside of the physical appearance. They want to be, I mean, not everybody. I guess some men do like red flag women, which are not the qualities that I was talking about today. There are people that do like that craziness, but it's those are all like, in my opinion, trauma bonds because you're so used to having like a wild mother. Maybe the mother was like abusive and you know yelled at you, and so now you're just like normalized to have that's a normal woman to me, and so you're kind of attracted to these red flag pieces. But emotionally intelligent man who's in his resilience, who has calmed his nervous system, is going to be attracted to a woman that also has this calm nervous system and in her own way has her own beautiful world that he can that he's invited into. So she's not necessarily sharing all of this stuff that I'm talking about with everybody, but she does handle herself with this beautiful grace and radiance and presence and essence. And that man is going to be attracted to that. What should a woman do to attract this kind of man? She is going to want to be authentically herself. I mean, we talked about a lot of these qualities. You don't want to mold yourself into what he wants. You want to speak your mind. You want to keep your quirks and your opinions and your passions. You want to be unapologetically you. And you don't want to play games. Like an emotionally intelligent man is going to see right through that, and he is going to value directness, and he's going to value sincerity. He's going to want to be, wanting to see you be authentically yourself, and vice versa. I think women, for the most part, like an emotionally intelligent woman is not going to want to be around somebody who's not authentic to, she's just not going to be magnetized to that. It's like, that's not going to be even entering her field because her field is going to be completely clean. And men who are lacking in emotional resilience are not going to be able to hold her in her state that she's in, which is why energy work is so important. When I talk about emotional intelligence, like this goes beyond the emotions. This is, I mean, we're talking about intellect here, which is the mental mind. We're talking the emotional mind. These are two pieces, and then you have your physical and your spiritual, which are kind of outside of those mental and emotional. But the mental and emotional states are still important in this piece, and it's all energy. We're looking at feminine and masculine energy here. So when she can intellectually hold a conversation, she is holding that in this really strong masculine energy presence. Like she's able to, think about things that she's learned and add to this conversation, creating a richer, deeper conversation where that might excite a man who's very much in his intellectual pursuits and who maybe not necessarily is like super emotional. And maybe she's just a little bit more emotional and playful, and that like counterbalances. That's all energy. And so that man might have a really strong mental, intellectual energy. She might have a really strong emotional and passionate energy, and he's drawn to that because he doesn't necessarily hold that himself, but he can hold her because she's able to hold that in herself, if that makes sense. The other thing is when you're wanting to attract this emotionally regulated man, you'll want to be cultivating emotional stability within yourself. So instead of like having to run to the man and be soothed by him, you're able to learn how to self soothe and be less impulsive. And you're going to want to express your feelings calmly and clearly, like even when you're in the heart of a conflict. Being able to say, I feel, I'm trying to think of a conflict situation. I can sense that, we're in a really deep disagreement, and I would really love to talk about how I'm feeling about it, but I don't feel this is the appropriate time to do this. Can we do it when we're both calmed down? And so she's able to speak clearly and calmly in that situation, and then he, you know, hopefully, like, it doesn't come to that. You guys are able to mitigate some disagreements without having it to go to this huge conflict. But if it does, like, a woman who is emotionally stable is going to be able to calmly and clearly say, hey, look, I can tell that you're upset right now, and I'd really like to talk to you about it, but now is not an appropriate time because you appear very emotional. So she remains stable. And this could happen, it doesn't have to be her partner. This could be happening in public somewhere where she's, getting a coffee, and maybe somebody thinks that she cut in front of them in line, and now they're yelling at her. She is going to maintain her emotional stability by being calm and clear. She's going to embody, like, if you're wanting to attract this, you're looking to embody confidence and self-worth, self-respect, and self-love. A high value man is going to want to be drawn to a woman who highly values herself. She is going to be setting those boundaries without guilt. This is a part of self-respect. You need to set the boundaries of, even if that boundary means that you have to walk away, she's ready to walk away. You're not chasing and you're not overgiving. You're prepared to walk away when you make a boundary. And I think a lot of women get really scared in that setting that boundary, that if I set the boundary and then they go away, it's going to activate my fear of abandonment. It's going to activate my fear of rejection. And so they don't set boundaries. And that is not a way that a woman is valuing herself, of respecting herself. So make sure that you are working on setting clear boundaries, and that if those boundaries are broken, you're prepared to walk away from it. We talked about being supportive and not controlling. So a man with emotional strength doesn't need to be fixed, and nor should you fix him. That's controlling him. You don't want to do that. Encourages growth, but don't change him. And if for some reason the man that you've drawn in doesn't meet your standards, be prepared to walk away, ladies. Like, this is where your worth comes into play. If you're overlooking and compromising certain characteristics in a partner that you're around, you're not choosing you. You're chasing, and you're giving up your value. So, and then the last piece of being supportive and not controlling is giving him space to be himself and being okay with him being gone. I don't remember what show it was, but I remember this lady and this guy got together. So the guy is like this really cool equine. He's a horse. He had a ton of horses, and he's this country guy. And he meets this woman online, and like in less than 6 months, they're married, and she moves in with him. And she's the city girl. She has no idea what country life is like. And he ended up getting rid of all of his horses because the horses were taking up too much time, and she was so effing needy. I think it was maybe like Dr. Phil or something. I don't know. But I remember watching this, like, okay, one, how did they even like get together? How did they find each other? Two, what compromises did you go through just to be cohabitating with somebody? This is where I kind of get a little opinionated about like dating apps and about dating shows, is because you it's almost like you feel so much pressure to have I don't know if it's validation or if it's just to like stave off your own inner loneliness. But I'm just like, that woman was so lonely. I don't know what. And that guy was maybe feeling lonely because he just worked all the time. And he's like, oh, it'd be nice to have a woman in my house. I don't know the full story, but I was just so blown away by the choices that these two made. Like they were opposite of each other. It was wild. But so in giving a man space, you think that, oh, it's if I don't show up in his life, he's going to forget about me. No, he's not. He is, you just have to like sit there and trust that he's going to come and find you. He's going to text you. He's going to, I remember when I became newly single, I went on dating apps. And I did it because like I hadn't been on dating apps in like over 10 years. It was a long time, but so I'm like on these dating apps and somebody had said, "Oh, make sure that you don't do the wall of text." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll just say a couple things and then I'm pulling back." So I had to like literally train myself of not oversharing, not over giving, not over serving my energy to any one person that I was talking to. Like like pulling back and having that space. I didn't do that for very long. Dating apps are very strange, and it was a lot nicer to meet somebody in person that I could say yes to instead of meeting on a dating app. I feel like that was a wild thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be really quick. I have 4% battery. So we're giving him space, and we're trusting that he's going to show up. The next one is maintain your own life and passions. And we talked about that. That self-assured man is attracted to a woman who has her own purpose. She is engaged in her own activities, her own hobbies, her own career, her own social life. She's not relying on him to replace any of that. In fact, what I said is when I was like, if I date somebody, they're going to be adding to my life what what something that I can't necessarily provide on my own. So they need to bring something to the table that it goes beyond anything that I could provide. So like they've got to have a really nice personality. They've got to be able to have a good conversation with me. They've got to have similar likes to me. They have to be adventurous. They have to be willing to leave in a moment's notice and be spontaneous. Like these are all qualities that I have that I need in a partner if they're going to like hang with me. All right. So he's going to be attracted to a woman who has her own purpose, and she is not making him the center of her world. He is a complement, not a method to complete your life. He is a complement. So it's not 50-50. It's I'm 100, are you 100? Okay, let's go. Not I'm 100, you're 50%. Okay, well, I'll give you some of my 100. That's not going to jive. The next piece is maintain your own life and your passions. We said that. Balance feminine energy with strength. And this means that you're embracing that soft, beautiful, magnetic energy. You want your essence to be present. You want that warmth, that softness, and that receptivity. And you're still maintaining those boundaries of if you go beyond this boundary, I'm out. If you go beyond this boundary, I can't be around that. No, not gonna take that. But so she is balancing her feminine energy. She's letting him lead in certain areas, and also showing her own strengths in her own way. And she's also showing appreciation and admiration for his masculinity without losing her independence. Oh, it was really nice of you to drive me to the beach. I really liked that. It made me feel good. And I like our memories that we made. So she's balancing that feminine energy. She's just still being present, still showing up, but she's letting him lead without losing her independence. And that's why don't give your life up, don't give your social life up. Keep those things. That's what makes you rich. Okay. Communicate with maturity. So addressing issues calmly, like I said, and then we're also not resorting to passive aggressiveness, and we are not doing emotional outbursts. We're being very calm about if you do have like an emotional inburst, you're keeping that, you're feeling into it, and you're honoring that emotion, and then you're going to let it go. Hey, in that moment, I got really emotional. I felt really frustrated and really unheard. And, what do you think we could do to avoid that situation from happening again? She's speaking clearly and with maturity. And she's going to speak directly and honestly about her needs. And she's going to listen with presence and curiosity rather than defensiveness. And I was watching a reel earlier. There's this lady called Anna Karina, I think. And she is somebody that does like black cat, golden retriever energy. And she was showing two responses to newscasters or interviewers or whatever. And she had the one who was like, oh, and she was really playful about her responses, and she like deflects and she gives a really short answer and not being emotional. Whereas like the defensive woman is like, oh, I'm not talking about that, or she starts crying to like, it brings attention to something that she doesn't even want to bring attention to, but she's doing it anyways because she can't emotionally control herself because she doesn't have that emotional maturity. So we listen with presence and curiosity rather than defensiveness. So, oh, you noticed that? Oh, okay. I think it was Taylor Swift. She's like, yeah, it's not really about any one person anymore. It's like, it's all of our song. Like, we all share that. And then finally, I can't say it enough, being playful and lighthearted. We as women can really set the tone in a room of being really playful and um, energetic, like just lightening the feeling in a room. And men love that. I think about Marilyn Monroe. She could just enter a room and her presence just glowed. Everybody like turned their attention to her. And she's not sitting there like having these emotional outbursts. She's not saying things that are ridiculous. She's just being her cute, feminine self and bringing that to the table. And men loved that about her. Even if that was her character she was playing, men loved that. And she is an icon for a reason because the men do love that light, flirty, fun behavior that she exhibited. And so don't be afraid to tease, laugh, and enjoy the connection. Don't be mean. Be light. Can't emphasize that enough. Be light. Be fun. Laugh. Share that fun energy. And playfulness keeps attraction alive and it builds an emotional safety, like the playfulness that you can have with one another. Like just saying these really funny jokes, or maybe you have a pun and you're really good at coming up with puns, or for all it's worth, like I couldn't go on stage and be like told like, oh, you need to be fun and playful. But if I was in like a work office, or if I was in a room, I read the room and then I'm like, oh, okay, I know who I'm going to go talk to. And then usually my conversations are like, let's talk about crazy energy and out of body experiences. Let's go. Um, but sometimes I could be really like heavy and bring in like some really heavy information, or I could be like, oh, really light and fun and have a good time. And it's just knowing your audience and knowing how to show up for them, and that is going to be attracting higher quality men that have these emotional this emotional resilience that I think most women are typically looking for. They want to have that high quality man, but in order to get that, you also have to be a high quality woman. And these are some of the characteristics that you, if you don't have them now, should be working on so that you're elevating your frequency and you're growing and being a bigger presence than yourself, than you would be, or I should say. So really, um, that's my teaching today. I like how Randy came in and he was like, oh, great, a woman talking to herself. But I hope that this illuminates some things about you, or maybe even women that you're looking to draw into your own energy. And don't forget to like and to subscribe if you have not already. I really appreciate you guys. I love sharing all this information, and I may have to change the time if I get this job. I'm going in for a second interview. But if I get the job, I may have to change the time, or I might pre-record and then just have these as scheduled on the Tuesdays at 11. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I might go on later today. I'm doing a series on AI and the digital age and how it is going to affect us as far as our human sovereignty, emotionally, mentally, and it's kind of a multi-part series to really deep dive into some of the concepts, and it gives me a little bit of play in developing a really strong presentation for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm at 1%. I'm going to go make some salmon. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will see you guys later. Ciao.